Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel year in review for 2023. It's been a good year overall for the channel, and so I wanted to reflect on that and talk about some of the video content that I put out, what I liked, maybe what I want to improve on, and just, you know, overall thoughts on the year as a whole, because I think 2023 for the channel definitely had potentially less content, but I do think I had some videos that did fairly well and stuff like that. So let's just get into it. I have a list that you can't see off to my right hand side here of just stuff that I think is important to the year. Before I get to that though, I still feel at this point that even with the size of the channel, you know, marching towards almost 300 subscribers, marching towards videos that are getting consistently, you know, higher than 50 views. Not on everything, because not everything's going to, but you know, having a video this year hit 12,000 views, having a video hit like 500 views, so all these things to me are insane. I know that a lot of the time it comes down to watch time. It's more about the watch time than it is like the views. You know, watching a video for 5 seconds to 1 minute isn't going to be particularly useful. I appreciate the fact that anybody that sits down and watches any of the content that I put out for, you know, for a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it may be, the fact that somebody's taken the time to click on said video and watch it is an incredible feeling, and that can never be understated, just how appreciative I am that even though I don't consider I like making the content, but I wouldn't say it's like high quality in comparison to other people's videos, especially me just sat here talking to a camera, but I just want people to know that, like, even if I'm still not at my goals yet for the channel, that the fact that we hit 200 subs, or the channel hit 200 subs in 2023, is now at 272 at the time of recording this video, almost at 300, had a massive influx near the end of the year, is kind of bonkers to me, and I hope that probably, you know, going into January, February, we can get closer to that milestone and hit 300. And then go from there, and we start that rise for another 100 subs. And yeah, I just want to say a massive thank you for anybody that's subscribed, anybody that's watched any of the content this year that I put out, whether that's, you know, a couple of minutes on a video or watching the video to the end. You know, it means the world to me, because ultimately, you know, you don't have to take time out of your day to watch my content, but the fact that you do is hugely appreciated. So let's talk about stuff that went out on this year, and again, this is in no particular order, this is just stuff that I think I want to highlight. I think the most important thing that really pushed the channel this year is Advance Wars Reboot Camp 1+2. Ultimately, I was incredibly hyped for that game. I'm still in shock. I'll have a whole nother video on it on its own, but what I want to say is that, you know, having waited so long for it, and then the game coming out, and then doing some streams on it, they went really well, or significantly better than I thought they would. That, you know, just all in all, everything I did around Advance Wars this year, I'm really happy with. And it also was the first game I ever sat down and wrote a written review that was scripted and took my time with it, and essentially just made a video that I was happy with. And you know, it hit 100 views, which I'm really happy with. But I also, you know, did that because I wanted to. It was the first game ever, but I truly needed to, like, do content on it. Like, I really love that game. That is a remake that I'm incredibly happy with, and, you know, no matter how overshadowed it gets, it's like nothing came close to it this year. Even though that 2023 is an incredible year for games, Advance Wars Reboot Camp was just, I still can't get over the fact that it exists, and I think that's why I love it so much, is that it exists, it improves on some things, it has a ton of content, like, you know, there's just a lot there. But that's, you know, another video for another day, really. But that really helped the channel, I think, doing content on it. I think people found me through my reaction to it originally when it was first announced at E3, and then since then I think people have kind of been keeping tabs on it. So I want to get back to doing some kind of content. I might just do like some playthrough bits for it, some war room stuff in video content for next year, but we'll see how we go. If not, I might just go back to streaming bits and bobs for it, because I just like that game so much. Obviously, like I said, brought out the first ever review. I would like to do some other reviews of games, but I'm not going to pressure myself into doing them. I will take as long as I need to when I want to, because I enjoyed that process of doing scripted content. I actually have 2 videos currently in the works as scripted, but they're not reviews. They're more just discussion pieces, and you know, that's something I want to do in 2024. I won't get too much into 2024. I think that deserves its own video. But let's just say there's a lot of stuff I want to do. That's the good thing. Starting nearer the beginning of the year last year, I finally played Hollow Knight. It was a game that a lot of people told me I should play, and unfortunately it just didn't click with me, and I really didn't like it that much. And that was the first I don't like Hollow Knight and that's okay, or that kind of video I've done in a while. I'm in 2 minds whether to keep doing videos like that, because they're quite negative, or the premise of them is quite negative anyway. And you know, I like the title of it, but I don't know whether it's too easy to be negative on games and get clicks and likes and views and all that sort of stuff, and I don't really want to do that, because ultimately, just because I didn't like the mechanics of a game doesn't necessarily make it bad. There are some decisions in that game that were very frustrating, but you know, a lot of the responses were kind of okay. I genuinely expected to get a lot more pushback than I did. One friend of mine was not particularly keen on my takes, but that's okay, you know, like ultimately, like, I want to enjoy these sort of games. I like Metroidvanias, but Hollow Knight was just one of those games that just didn't click with me, and we'll leave it at that. I did some more hardware review stuff actually last year, because I got an 8BitDo Ultimate controller. This is a wired one, as you can see here. I got one from a PC, but I've got a one for my Switch, and I also did some reviews on the Hori SplitPad Pro and the 8BitDo Zero controller, the dinky little thing. I would like to get back to doing some more of those. I haven't bought that much hardware in terms of controllers, but for Christmas this year, I did get myself a Nexicon like grip thing that you slide your Switch into, and I think it's pretty good. So I will be there'll be a review of that coming in the future, because I really want to talk about that, and once I've used it a bit more and got a bit more on it. But I quite like doing the controller reviews. There's a ton of controllers, like third-party stuff on Amazon, that I'm curious about. Ultimately, I don't want to spend too much money on what potentially could be quite junk. So I haven't touched anything for a while. But I like 8BitDo stuff, so I might put some money aside, and like they've got like a joystick and some other controllers. I'm really curious about getting some more of their stuff. I really like their products, and you know, I'm not trying to be a shill here, but their Ultimate controller and the forgotten which one this is, the SM Pro one. I think this thing's fucking phenomenal as well. Like, I really like their products. They are a good alternative to, probably the best alternative to Nintendo's own products. So we did some of those, and they went down quite well. I'm really happy with those. One of the biggest, or one of the higher rated, or the view count in this year was my Metroid Prime being shadow dropped video. It's just a reaction. It's about 30 seconds long, or however long it is. That seemed to get a bit of traction. I know reaction videos are easy content. I don't really want to do too many of them. More so in live streams, or if I haven't seen a Nintendo Direct because I've been at work or whatever. But that was crazy. You know, it was a crazy thing. The Metroid Prime just got shadow dropped, and I've got the physical version of it as well. Turned out to be a phenomenal game. You know, some good accessibility options as well. So I'm really happy with that. To be honest, the highest viewed video, or the highest video I got this year, was the Torchlight 3 video. It just blew up, and that was is Torchlight 3 any good in 2023? And it was just off the whim of the fact that I liked the game when I first played it, but it had issues. And I was really in the mood for trying it out, and so myself, my brother, and Don Hayes, we played it, and I think they had some fun with it. But I wanted to know if the game had improved at all, and I did that video, and it's only like 8 minutes long. It's kind of to the point, and it blew up, and it brought in a ton of subscribers, and a bunch of people were like, "Oh, I've just seen it on Switch." I think a lot of people will be disappointed with the game. That's why I was trying to make it, because ultimately there are some fun things about that game that you cannot take away from it, and objectively it is better than the game was. But that video just, that was like the big one for 2023 for me, so really happy with that. I haven't actually done any more like videos on games that are You know, have they improved since their release? And that was, I think, very much a fluke. I'd have to look to see what's come out on Switch, and then might have improved over time. But ultimately, crazy amount of views. 12,000 views for me is just insane. Like, I'm so, like, I can't even describe how happy I am to get a video like that. We also had this year, obviously, hitting 200 subscribers, which is a massive milestone. Super happy with that. Massive thank you to just everybody, really. I think this is also the year I started doing the top 10 tracks. I could be wrong, that might not be the case, but this year I put out like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Divinity Original Sin 2, maybe Unreal Tournament had come out beforehand, because I think that was the first one I did in Time Splitters, I think. But I feel like I put out more this year. They take a lot of effort, and I do really like doing them, and I want to get back to doing them, but my god, like, I have to find a game that, one, I like the soundtrack of, like, a lot of it, and then two, you know, put it together. And it's not the end of the world, like, I don't mind it taking effort, but those are some really cool videos, and I really like doing them. But you can expect more of that to be in the future. I just have to find, I've got 2 games in mind that I want to do, but it's just finding time at the moment. But yeah, maybe it didn't start this year, but I very much feel like it was a big part of my 2023. We had a brand new Retro Reminisce come out, which is on Pong, or Pong the Next Level for the PlayStation 1. I had some serious issues with the audio. That video that recording was 3 years old before I put it up. I just could not get the energy. This is my old Mac is off screen here. I didn't have the energy to edit it, basically, and I just thought, no, I need to do it. But it did make me want to do more Retro Reminisce again, and I do think that is something that's fallen off very hard, and there is a chance that it'll be easier to do going forward now, due to myself, Dave's, and Mark's working routine. The problem is we were going to do Pokemon, whichever the ones are after Gold and Silver. Emerald? I can't remember. I think it's Emerald. Whichever the ones were after Gold and Silver, we all played them. I never actually finished it. I fell off quite hard. But we were going to do a Retro Reminisce on those, and it never came to fruition, and I think we've forgotten a lot of the game now, unfortunately. So it's something I want to do. I'm just not going to force it, because, for example, me and Mark sat down this year, and we did that Zelda discussion, and I really enjoyed it. And I really like having both those guys in the videos, because I think it leads to more interesting discussion overall. I think when you've just got my opinion, you know what I like, you know what I don't like, and you get it. But when I get to talk to Mark, or when I get to talk to Dave, it just adds a different flavour and a different viewpoint, and that's more interesting. And the same with when I've done stuff with Jack. Having somebody else's perspective, it doesn't mean that they're right or wrong, or I'm right or wrong. It just means that you get to see someone else's thought process, and I think that's really valuable, and ultimately that's something I want to get back to next year. But with Retro Reminisce, like, there's always stuff that we can do, and I want to do more of it. It's just nothing's lined up, and I'm not going to force these guys to, you know, stick to a strict schedule if they don't want to, or whatever it is. Like, you know, ultimately I would like to do maybe 4 Retro Reminisces a year, right? And I think that's a good number to be achievable. And it's just looking at, like, what's doable on those things. So, you know, it's a thought process at the moment. Like, they will pop up from time to time. I don't think those videos are ever going to be particularly popular, because it's old games, but so be it. What else? I did a bunch of Mario Kart content. Mario Kart 8, while the pass has been out, my thoughts and processes on that. Some of those videos did really well, like 200-300 views. Very happy with some of that stuff. Easy game to do content on. Easy to be like, here's my thoughts on this wave and all that stuff. So I'm glad that people were watching that. A couple other things. Then we had the Commandos Origin video that I did, which was just me talking about it. That did fairly well as well. Not a game that I expected a lot of people to be interested in. Maybe not many people had made videos on Commandos Origins, so that might be why it has a high view count, or a higher view count for me. But you know, that's a classic PC game that I love, and very much excited for that. So, you know, happy with how that video. Then we had more recently we've had the Dark Tide videos. So I've been playing Warhammer 40k Dark Tide. I did a video on the Ogrin that got about 500 views, which was nuts. And then I did the Zealot, it's got about 100 views. And that was also, you know, these videos seem to be popular. Not that they are more than anything me just discussing my playtime for them, but you know, expect the other 2 classes to come for that. Potentially more content on the horizon, we'll see. But yeah, all in all, a successful year, a year that I'm very happy with. Another year gone by, and ultimately just keep plodding along. There are going to have to be some changes, I think, coming to the channel, and because I want to up the I want to do 2 things. I want to basically make the quality better overall, but I also want to stop putting pressure on myself, because this channel is very small, and if I don't post for a month, I don't think people would care too much. Not that that's what I want to do, but I've got to be willing to take time, get away from a regular schedule sometimes to get better quality content out. Stuff that I want to do, basically, whether that's scripted content, because I do, behind the scenes of all of this, I do put a lot of pressure on myself, being like, I need to put out 2 videos a week. That's what people expect. It used to be 3, but then it was gone to 2. And for me, it's like, well, if I don't put videos up for a couple of weeks, people aren't going to watch it. Hence why Borderlands 2 right now is like a playthrough. I appreciate that's not what people usually hear for the channel. They want the opinion stuff. They want, you know, stuff that's a bit higher quality. But that's just to tie things over. And ultimately, December hasn't been like a rest month for me. Like, it has in terms of what I'm uploading and things, but it really hasn't. I spent more time planning and doing things behind the scene for YouTube than I should have. You know, and so I need to make a decision going into next year. Like, if I take X amount of time to do all this stuff and not upload at all, is that beneficial to the channel? Is it not? But that's, you know, again, I will do a video on 2024 when we get into 2024. So something in January will be coming, talking about my plans and all that sort of stuff going forward. But what I want to do is wrap up 2023 and just say I'm very, very happy with how the channel's gone. I'm really, really happy with the subscriber growth, the view counts, that people are watching, even if it's only a small increment. Like, you've got to appreciate all the things, and the fact that anybody out there is taking their time out of their day to watch the content that I put up there, even if it is only for 5 minutes, like, that blows my mind. And again, you know, thank you for everybody that's watching and subscribing, and, you know, whatever it is, commenting. I do see it all, I do read it all, negative or positive, and I hope that I can continue to keep doing what I'm doing. There are improvements coming, or there are improvements that I would like to make, but that also might come at the fact that there might be bigger gaps between video uploads. You might get 4 weeks of, you know, 2 videos a week, and then you might get 2 weeks of nothing. And that's just something I need to figure out what I want to do, how I'm going to do it, because ultimately my time constraints of when I get time to make stuff is going to change. So yeah, so there's a lot of all that, but ultimately, you know, thank you, and here's to 2024 being another good year, and hopefully I can cover more games and things like that as well, and we can just look forward to potentially another big year for the channel and keep you guys entertained and all that good stuff. So yeah, that'll do it for me today then. Thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, hit like. If you want to see more content like this, then hit subscribe. Links for Facebook and Twitter will be down below in the description as always. And until next video, I will see you then.